Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fire Talk with Chief Mark McCluskey. I'm your host, Public Safety Information Director Larry Flowers. First off, we will talk about our calls for service for the month of March, as well as our community engagement events. Chief McCluskey, thanks for joining us.
Good to be here again.
Looks like calls for service keep going up each month.
I think ever since we started, it's went up a little
Wow.
bit, a pretty good jump this month, almost 300 more calls this month.
2,035 calls for service in the month of March.
So it's now hard to step outside and hear a fire truck going down
Right.
the road.
Exactly, and that includes 1,294 EMA incidents, 698 fire rescue incidents, and of course, 43
43
fire
fires,
calls.
yes.
And let's begin with one of those fire calls. It was a mulch fire out off General Mills Way back on March 5th.
Yeah, this time of the year, it's coming up on spring. Everybody's doing mulch, and the mulch is set in their bins all year, and it's a chemical reaction. It's a spontaneous combust. So once they get it spread out in these areas and they start drying out, people see the smoke, and sometimes it will come to flames. But at General Mills, they did their whole parking lot,
Okay.
and they had little fires all over their parking lot. So yeah, crews got out there and wet it all down good, and then saved the day, I guess, on that one.
Saved the day.
Several cars for sure.
And then the same day, ended up responding to a dumpster fire at the Avenue.
Yeah, this was a construction dumpster where they was doing some renovation in one of the buildings. It had gotten, and sometimes we have codes about how close a dumpster can be, but sometimes the construction dumpsters get a little bit closer to what they should. It was pretty full, caught on fire for whatever reason it did, and it was, potentially endangering the structure of the mall there. So crews got on scene, got on top of it pretty good and put it out.
And great news, no injuries,
Yep,
no additional
injuries.
damage to any
Yeah.
other buildings.
So, yeah.
Grass fire on March 11th.
Yeah, like I just said a minute ago, it's this time of the year. Spring's coming on. It's been really dry in the month of March. Of course, we have had some rain since then. The wind, and the grass is still kind of dead, but we've had several grass fires, and we had this one in particular that really spread quick and endangered a few houses. So yeah, it's that time of the year for that also.
Yeah, quick work by those crews that responded to prevent it from spreading.
Yes, I do remember listening to that call when the first engine got on scene. He called for extra help right away because it was a pretty good sized grass fire in that neighborhood.
Another brush fire. This
Yes.
went out at the Stones River Country Club. They're doing some
Yes.
construction out there. and
They
so-
are, and they do have a burning permit to do some burning. Of course, with like I said, the dry grass and the winds being up, it got a little out of control on them. We got over around the riverbank side. We had to send some crews out there to assist getting that put out.
Right.
So,
And later on that day, a house fire on Medford Campbell.
yes, Medford Campbell off of Braidable Highway. It was a house. When the crews got on the scene, it was heavily involved. This house was under renovation. Of course, when they got there at first, they didn't know that. Went in, did a primary search on the building, found out that it was vacant. Nobody was in it, no furniture or anything. Excuse me. And it was already coming through the roof when we got there. We set some aerials up on it to knock the fire down. Crews then went in with a hand line, and it was pretty close to being done as far as remodeled. And of course, it may be a total loss now. It's a pretty good fire.
A partial roof collapse,
Yes.
but no injuries.
No
firefighters
injuries,
were able to
no.
get- Okay, great.
Yes.
That's actually great. And as you mentioned, that house was vacant. It was under renovation. So, water rescue on March 16th. You know, we've been having these storms come in, dumping a lot of rain in such a short period of time, and water's going to rise.
Yeah, we have. We had some pretty good storms come through a couple, the second week there in March. A lot of rain at one time creates flood waters. We had a few issues with some vehicles going around barricades or
Right.
going through some high water and get stranded out there. And of course, the water being 3 or 4 foot deep, need help getting back out of the water.
Right, and I guess you can't stress that enough. If you see a barricade, don't
Yes.
try to go around and save a few
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, saying is turn around, don't drown.
Right.
Luckily, in both of these cases, it was stagnant water, just deep. But if you have swift water where it's flowing, it's going to move your car,
Right.
wash you downstream, and that's when it really gets dangerous to do that working in that swift water. But you know, you cannot tell by looking at the water how really deep it is. You don't know what's happened to the road. The road may be washed out or something. It's just best to turn around, don't drown, and just go the extra mile or two to get around that high water.
Right, and no injuries. This was a family from a different state that
Yes.
was about to head out. Probably was not familiar with that road or
That is
how
correct.
that water was.
But it was marked. So
And one of the problem areas in our city is at West College Street under that railroad underpass.
Yes.
That thing's going to flood whenever there's rain
Yeah.
or heavy rain. So
It
people
seems-
should know by now. Hey, don't.
if you live in this area, for sure you ought to know about West College, the railroad tracks. It don't take a little sprinkle and it holds water, but
Right.
yeah, we had a situation there where people went around the barricades, car drowned it out, and then had to go in and get them. I think the water was probably 3 foot deep or so.
Right.
And there again, it's like the barricades are there. Do not go around them. There's a reason they're there.
And we're going to move on to some training that that some of our firefighters went through. Hazmat technician course training.
Yes, a course was put on by the International Firefighter Association. We have, this was a hazmat technical course, hazmat tech's what we call it. And we have more people trained at a higher level.
Right.
This level here is so you can come in and assist the guys and men and women of the department that are higher level trained. But it's a big accomplishment. It's a 2-week class. It's a lot of chemistry involved, a lot of safety involved, because hazmat, we don't have a lot of them, but when you do have them,
Right.
it's a very slow scene and very safe scene you need to run, because it can be very dangerous.
So now we have 101 certified hazardous material technicians now.
That is correct on our department now.
Are they spread out over all of our fire stations?
They are. They're
Okay.
spread out everywhere. You know, but Station 11 out on Blaze Drive, they house our hazmat team. Their
Okay.
special operation out there. They have trucks and trailer that has specialized equipment. All of them are trained to a higher level than tech. Even some of them are specialists. They go to the scene, and if they need help, they can bring in other engine companies that have one of these techs on it that can help them.
Right.
And they're already trained in that hazmat.
And of course, if you don't get enough of a chief talking here on Fire Talk, you can hear him on WGNS Radio every first Monday of the month.
Yeah, Scott had asked me to come on one day for a show, and he said, I'd like for you to fill in sometimes if we have an opening. Well, the next week he had an opening. Then that week he's like, hey, we got another opening, first Monday of every month if you want to come in.
Right.
And I agreed to do it. You know, I like getting out information over the radio. It won't always be me. I told Scott, I said, there's more than just what I have
Right,
to say.
right.
We have a medical chief, fire chief or suppression and training, have them on, maybe a deputy chief, but just different ones to talk about different subjects that's going on in the fire department.
Right, exactly.
So-
I mean, busy, one of the busiest
Yeah.
fire departments around here. So,
That is.
and you can hear Chief on WGNS Radio every first Monday of the month from 8:15 to 9 a.m. on WGNS. That's your good neighbor station.
That's it. Been
But you
around
know,
for
I go
years.
there. I went there this morning, matter of fact, but I never seem to win that banana pudding that the birthday fairy gives out every morning.
Maybe I can talk to Scott and see if he can't help you out.
Yeah, love some banana pudding. And we want to give Chief a big shout out. He was recently honored, nominated and named Hero of the Month by the J. Harmon Home Team. And they came over to Fire Administration Building with a bucket full of goodies. Now, I'm going to say, I tried to get it from him just to take a picture, and he snatched it back and wouldn't even let me get it.
Yeah, I'm not going to get my goodies.
I know, man. Those homemade cookies and a lot of goodies, man. You
Yeah.
have to appreciate the community.
I
honoring.
do. You know, it was an honor to get that. That was a surprise, but I really appreciate it. It means a lot to
Right,
me. You know.
right.
So it was a nice time. You know, I was back in my office and IT come out and said, "Hey, I need to see you." And that's not like Mike. He said, "Come on right now," and I walk in there, and then here we go again.
I saw you stopping your footsteps before
yeah.
you even walked into the conference room. So
Yes, kind of got me again. I did that on my 40-year anniversary here, and bringing me down surprised me then. So.
It's
Yeah.
like, well, enough surprise. It's like, okay, guys, surprise somebody else. Oh man, before we go, you know, the men and women of your department have been out knocking on doors, you know, trying to help with the census.
That is correct. We're still doing that, going door to door. It's kind of slowed down a little bit how many names we're getting, but we're still
Right.
doing good. I know about a week or so ago, there was one weekend we had over 1,000
Wow.
names. So we're still building. You know, when we go out, when we have a pretty day, we all get out and do it. We'll get anywhere from 700-800
Right.
new names. You know, we're doing it when we can, weather related. We're not going out when it's raining.
Right.
Of course, we do stay busy. You see the amount
Exactly.
of calls, so that kind of cuts into it. But we're trying to do our part to get these numbers into what we think we should have here.
Well, definitely, and these numbers are only going to help our community get additional dollars in from the state,
That is
and that's
correct.
only going to enhance public
Yes,
safety.
yeah. It will hold down the tax base. You know, hopefully, I think it's $175 per person. We're predicting somewhere another 20,000 people
Wow.
since we had our last census are here. So, hoping we can meet that number.
Right.
But it's
Exactly. So if you haven't signed up for the census yet, you can do so by visiting murfreesborocensus.com. You can scan the QR code here on your screen now, or just simply go to murfreesborocensus.com. Chief, it's kind of quick, even though it was a busy month.
yeah, that's quick show, but it was a busy month.
Right.
Luckily, it was busy with stuff that wasn't too overwhelming and bad.
Exactly. So we want to thank everybody for joining us for Fire Talk with Chief Mark McCluskey. Of course, we want to make sure this discussion is informative and enlightening. And if there's ever anything that you'd like to talk about, you know, just drop us an email. You can email the public information officers at pio@murfreesborotn.gov. So you can catch us next time for more engagement conversations right here on City TV. You can also catch us on our YouTube channel, the Murfreesboro, Tennessee Government, and where there's a playlist that says Fire Talk with Chief McCluskey that you can watch us on there as well. And in addition to that, on all of our social media platforms across the city. I'm Larry Flowers, and again, on behalf of Chief Mark McCluskey, thank you for joining us, and for the entire Fire Talk team, have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.